Alright, so you're probably wondering why the Cobra is still here after all this time. Well, the customer wanted some custom rims for the FIA style from the back in the day that this car is. Water and powder coated, and they took quite some time to get here. So right now I'm just doing some checks to make sure the current knockoff system works with these, which they do. That's how we order them. But speaking of old friends, look what's back. It's the Lotus, as promised. It's, you know, when you do your own projects like this that are something you're not going to sell, something that's not going to make money, it's going to be more of a marketing piece and show-off piece for the shop. They tend to hit the back burner a little more often than usual because we've got all these customer cars in here, and of course the Trans Am back there. So we're back on it though. Probably doesn't look very different because all the big components were in there. But what you do see is a lot more rainbow of colors. We're getting all the wiring in here. It's really been done as far as components for a while. Doing the final wiring has just kind of been the thing that we kind of set it aside to finish up some other projects. But back on it. Austin's starting to clean some stuff up, get some wires ran up into the front. You know, the accessory time right now, it's heater, air conditioner, getting the heat pump or the vacuum pump installed, stuff like that. Outside of the main drivetrain system has kind of been where we've been focused on the last couple weeks. Yeah, I mean, it's getting close, right?
Yeah, definitely getting there. A lot of wiring just for the small accessory stuff that takes a lot of time to get right. So.
Yep. So pretty much got everything planned and in. Now it's just cutting wires, putting connectors on, wiring things up, and turning the key and hoping for the best. So, but on that note, let's switch over to the heater because we got to talk about that. All right, so here's the heater core. If you think of heater cores on cars, you usually see them when you pop the hood, and right there on the firewall, you got a big old, you know, block of just plastic, which has the heater core in it, sometimes air conditioning. All that good stuff is up, you know, right there. You take some bolts off and boom, you have access to it all. This one is a little different, and I don't know where Austin wants to talk about it, but it looks small, right? It looks easy. Well, yeah, this is kind of, it is what it is, but
yeah, fits on there like that.
And it's a small unit, but Austin, what do you think? How many hours do we have in this?
A lot.
Just getting it out. We haven't even put it back in yet.
Yeah, the big struggle with this is like the dash isn't easily removable like most cars are. And I mean, dashes aren't easily removable for the most part, but like this one's really not removable. And so most of the interior came apart just to get it accessible, to get it to wiggle, and then came apart a little further to get it actually out.
Yep, I'm finally healing a few cuts on my hands from like a few weeks ago, just from so many things. It's lots of metal up under there, which is nice, you know, instead of plastic stuff that breaks. But that whole dash is like built into the car on this design, so you can't just take this dash cover off and take it out, which, you know, is nice because then once we take that out of a normal car, you have the firewall, the inside of the firewall there, and all the stuff on it, and stuff's easily accessible, like the heater core. Well, this is converting to an electronic high voltage heater core. So what's changing is we're taking out this one because it runs off of the engine coolant, which, you know, an engine gets 180, 190 degrees. And that's a pretty nice temperature for air to blow through to warm you up in the winter when it's cooler out. Well, you don't have that kind of temperature with the battery pack. You know, we have coolant in here for the batteries, but that's more to keep them at an ambient, much lower temperature. You're not going to get any heat out of that when it's the winter. So you have to use an electric, and it's high voltage. You can't just heat things up with a 12 volt. Think of like an electric heater in the house, you know. You plug that into a 120 volt outlet. So same goes here. You have to get high voltage from the pack here through a junction box and a contactor that when you turn it on, it turns that contactor, completes the high voltage circuit. And then this literally is just, if it's got electricity, it's on. If it doesn't, it's off. But as you can see here, this is much bigger than this. So that's the next thing, is trying to figure out how we want to get this in here. You know, do we want to just mount it on top of this one and keep it all original, which would work? Or do we want to take that one out and try to make a bracket to make it all work? It's going to be interesting, to say the least. So, and then he's putting it back in because he took it all out and he knows what all came apart where. You still remember all that?
Unfortunately.
It was a lot. It was just day after day of like more parts sitting outside the passenger door. More parts, just taking stuff out. It was quite the hassle to get this out, but it's out.
Pretty much everything.
I think we like took a break for a week from the Lotus when we got this out because we're like, all right, we just not look at this thing. But yeah, that's the story on the heater core. Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Boom, nailed it.